Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into this really amazing grassroots movement that's changing the energy game in India. But this isn't just a story about shiny new solar panels. Nope. This is a story about people, about human connection, and about how trust might just be the most powerful energy source we've got. And this quote right here, it gets to the very heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't some high-pressure sales pitch. It's about building real trust with families who, let's be honest, a little nervous about the cost, the complicated paperwork, and this new tech. This idea is the compass for a whole new kind of hero. And here she is. Meet the Surya Saki. She's a local woman trained up to be a solar advisor, and she's on a mission to bring clean, affordable power right to her own neighbors. You can think of her as part guide, part tech expert, and maybe most importantly, part trusted friend. But, her journey is anything but easy. She's up against some really big hurdles. Families are skeptical, and for good reason. They're worried about that big upfront cost, they're confused by the government websites, and they're wondering, will these things even work when it's pouring rain? Her job, really, is to turn all that fear into confidence. So, the big question is, how does she actually do it? Well, to make this happen, the Surya Saki needs a pretty special toolkit. It's one that perfectly blends technical know-how with a deep sense of empathy. It's really both a science and an art. So let's kind of break this toolkit down. On one side, you've got the hard skills. That's the technical stuff, what she knows. And on the other, you have the soft skills, the people skills, which is all about who she is. And you absolutely need both. See, the hard skills prove she's credible, but it's the soft skills that actually build the trust. The hard skills, they're her foundation. This is the science part. We're talking about being able to look at an electricity bill and figure it out in 30 seconds, calculate the exact system a family needs, and then walk them through the subsidy portal like an absolute pro. This is what proves to the family that, hey, this person knows what they're talking about. But this is where the magic really happens. The soft skills. This is the art. It's about actually listening to a family talk about how worried they are about their high bills. It's using simple stories that make sense, not a bunch of technical jargon. And it's having the patience to answer every single question, no matter how small. This is what makes a family feel heard and safe and ready to take that leap. Okay, so our hero has her toolkit. Now comes the really tricky part. She has to step into the customer's world. Let's dig into how she navigates all those hopes and fears that are swirling around in someone's head before they can say yes. Right? This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What really makes a family sign on? Spoiler, it's almost never just about the technology or the final price tag. It goes so much deeper into psychology, into trust, and into that gut feeling that you're making a smart, safe choice for your family's future. And this table just lays it out so perfectly. You can see the direct line from a customer's fear to the advisor's specific skill. They ask, will it really save us money? Bam, she shows them the exact calculations and payback period. Is the paperwork a nightmare? Nope. She says, don't worry, I'll sit with you and we'll fill it out in 10 minutes. She just systematically takes apart every barrier one by one. And listen, you can never, ever underestimate the power of this. Social proof is just everything. No glossy brochure or technical spec sheet in the world can compete with a simple, true story about a neighbor, someone you actually know, who now pays zero for their electricity. This one sentence can be more persuasive than an entire hour of technical talk. It's real. So let's see how the Surya Saki puts all of this into practice. How does she handle those real-world conversations and turn those really common objections into genuine moments of connection and trust? This is the big one. It's the number one hurdle she has to clear day in and day out. Because for most families, that upfront number looks huge, maybe even impossible, even when they know it'll save them money down the line. And watch how she masterfully reframes it. She doesn't argue or push back. She just educates. She calmly breaks it down into a long-term investment. Suddenly, it's not an expense anymore. It's a path to getting your money back in just a few years, and then enjoying 2 decades of free electricity. That just completely changes the conversation. Okay, here's another huge one, and it's a totally legitimate concern, right? It comes from not being familiar with the tech. People are thinking, am I going to make this big investment, and then it's just going to fail me when the sun's not out? And her response is all about building confidence with cold, hard facts and solid guarantees. She points to the government-approved parts. She explains the long-term warranty. It's not just her word against their doubt. It's a promise that's baked into the system itself. And just like that, skepticism starts turning into a feeling of security. Even a simple phone call has this clear, empathetic structure. It starts warm, then it hooks them by talking about something they already care about, their high electricity bills. It presents the value proposition super clearly, and then it ends with a simple, totally no-pressure next step, like a free roof check. This is how you turn a dreaded cold call into a genuinely warm conversation. So, after all this hard work, after all these conversations built on a foundation of trust, what's the result? Well, the impact is real, and it's honestly profound. Let's take a look at what the Suryasaki actually brings back to her community. First up, let's talk about the money. For so many families, saving this kind of cash every single year is absolutely life-changing. That's money that can now go towards a child's education, or healthcare, or just building up some savings. It's an immediate, tangible win. And then there's the environmental piece. A single one of these rooftop systems saves somewhere around 1.5 to 2 tons of CO2 a year. To put that in perspective, that's like planting 80 trees every single year for every home that says yes. That's huge. And this, right here, this is the long-term prize. We're talking about 25 years of energy security. That's a whole generation of freedom from worrying about rising electricity bills. It gives families a kind of stability and peace of mind that's just priceless. But really, the true impact, it goes way beyond the numbers. It's in the look on a family's face when they see their very first 0 rupee electricity bill. It's in that feeling of empowerment. And honestly, it's in the story of the Suryasaki herself, a woman who's now earning a dignified income and becoming a respected leader in her own community. And all of this leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We spend so much time thinking about the green revolution in terms of better batteries and more efficient panels, but what if the single most powerful tool we have is just a trusted friend, a neighbor, patiently explaining how it all works, one simple conversation at a time?